Thank you so much for allowing me to interview today. I really appreciate your time. This segment of the blog was really created as virtual mentorship to help students, especially those with less exposure to international careers. So I'm honored to have the opportunity to interview you today.
I'm honored to be interviewed.
Thank you. Would you be able to tell our viewers a bit about your career and what led up to your position?
Sure, of course. I currently am a partner at Ascendant Program Services. We're a small business. We provide technical advisory services to clients, both public sector and private sector, U.S. government included. And we work mainly in the infrastructure sector. In terms of that's where I am now. I studied international relations in my undergraduate, and I studied public policy in my graduate school studies. And
Here in the D.C. area?
At University of Maryland and then George Washington for graduate school. And I was working in a global engineering firm, and I became very interested in the aviation sector and started learning the jobs that my superiors were doing in terms of economic forecasting and modeling, planning of infrastructure projects, and realized that I found it interesting on the technical side, but also on the development side. I knew I wanted to do international work, and it really was something that I decided I wanted to grow into. So I just started working on different projects along the way, and eventually started with a few other colleagues the firm Ascendant in 2011. So just finishing 5 years with the company now this past week. So you know, it's just been a process of following interesting things, interesting people, learning interesting new skills, and providing really good service to our clients.
Especially because then most of our viewers on the blog are more in the legal background, going into their second and third year. Could you explain a bit what economic forecasting and modeling is?
Sure. So I do work with lawyers on many different projects. What happens in investment in infrastructure, at least overseas, especially when we're doing private sector work, is an investor needs advice. They need sound advice, and they need technical advice from engineers and architects in terms of what should be built. But the engineers won't know what to build unless somebody gives them some kind of quantitative assessment of how activity of a certain or demand for the use of a certain piece of infrastructure will evolve over time. I work in the airport sector, so I prepare models to predict how at a given airport or within an airport system, how passenger growth will evolve over 25, 30 years. The number of passengers coming from different markets. Also that equates into how many planes and even down to how many passengers per hour.
Oh, wow.
So we build our models I use Excel, some people use other systems, but we're looking at the correlations between different economic variables and the activity at a certain, in my case, airport, and try to predict how that will grow over time. The legal team usually comes in if there's a particular transaction. So my forecasts go into the input of the business plan. The technical team is designing what should be built. The lawyers are reviewing the contracts in terms of what the investors are going to sign on to. What are the conditions of the contract that are there for them to sign on to? What are the implications for them? What are the impacts? What are the risk areas? So legal experts are involved in a lot of the same projects that I've been working on, just at a different angle.
One of the really interesting things about being here at USTDA for the summer and DC at large has been to meet people who are really at the cross-section of law, business, and cultural expertise and international affairs at large. And being in this area, it seems like a lot of people are working really at that cross-section and with government contractors. Could you describe some of the opportunities for recent graduates at Ascendant or in similar sectors?
Sure, and that's a great way to describe work here at USTDA. USTDA is a federal government agency. Ascendant has been supporting USTDA since we were founded as a business, as subject matter consultants, subject matter experts when they're working on infrastructure projects. In particular, we provide overall research and analysis support to the agency on a day-by-day, ongoing basis. It's a 5-year contract. And so we have a team of analysts that support the program staff here at USTDA. which I'm sure you've met several of them. But these analysts are supporting the agency with research and analytical support when they're looking at potential projects to fund, when they're doing due diligence on potential partners. And while a project is underway, we help with project monitoring and management. We also help with evaluation services. So we're private sector technical advisors, and we're providing our advice to USTDA, which is a government sector agency. USTDA is funding projects that benefit U.S. companies that are suppliers of goods and services that are very competitive in different infrastructure programs, emerging markets overseas. So we have, as our analysts here, are interacting, of course, day by day with the federal government, their counterparts at USTDA, which are fantastic individuals, and really, I'm sure you've seen as an intern here how much you can learn from the staff here at TDA,
Sure.
and the fantastic work that they're doing. They're also getting to do a lot of outreach with U.S. companies. So manufacturers, equipment suppliers, and all these different industries that are at a high tech standard in terms of where they are for the solutions that they're offering. So they were getting to interact with the private sector on a day-to-day basis as well. And then working as consultants at Ascendant, they see our perspective as, we have an assignment to help them with a certain challenge. Certain tasks that are assigned to us, so we provide that private sector, solution to that work. So I think that it's an interesting opportunity and place to be.
Surely. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that a number of people are looking for ways to use their legal career and other avenues.
Plenty.
Like a good cross section.
Right. It is.
And this sort of work as well, it seems like government contractors are granted work for X number of years, or they win a contract, and then they go on to something else. In that case, does that mean that the analysts, once the contract ends, do they go on to other positions within Ascendant, or how does that work?
Well, I'm going to tell you in terms of my understanding of how things usually work. We started our contract with USTDA for the research and analysis services in 2013. It's a 5-year contract, so we haven't hit the 5-year mark where we truly find out what happens, but I have an understanding of what will happen. In 2018, the contract will be recompeted. Ascendant will most certainly be competing for it again, and hopes to be in a very strong position to continue our work here. We keep the client satisfied and very happy and provide high quality work. So we do hope to continue on, so that means it'll be smooth for all of our analysts. However, worst case scenario, let's say Ascendant doesn't get the next contract. What typically happens in contracts like this, and you can't say for sure, but this is my understanding of how it usually happens. The agency may ask the new contractor to give, for an offer to the existing analysts that are here. So I think what typically happens is that analysts usually have a way to stay on with the new contractor. They're the ones with the knowledge and the experience in the day-to-day. So I think it's a challenging time when a contract is in solicitation, but hopefully all can be taken care of without any interruption or stress for our employees. But we look forward to 2018 and recompeting.
Surely. Well, thank you. I know this is a very short segment, but is there anything I haven't asked you that you would like to share? There've been a lot of interesting questions, and I think it sounds like the viewers have a legal background, but also an international affairs background as well. I think there are a lot of wonderful opportunities out there, whether it's with the government, whether it's with the private sector. I think opportunities working here with us at USTDA or with our other clients might be of interest, so I would encourage anyone who's interested to please check out Ascendant and feel free to give me a ring or drop me a message. I'd love to hear from you. It's been a pleasure working with Chloe, so I'm sure her colleagues in school would be also wonderful to work with too. Thank you. Thank you so much again for allowing me to interview you.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Chloe.